Share my screen. Okay. I gave everyone the code for logging in. I meant to give you guys that earlier, but the files didn't exist, so they weren't added. But today we're going to be going over file uploads, which will be hopefully very quick. And then we'll go jump straight into testing. So yeah. So for file uploads, we just have to make a few very minor changes. We have to use at the very top, I think it has to be the first thing that you do. We're going to want to add upload, which is a utility function that you guys should all have. We're going to say upload dot array, and then we're going to add images because that is the key value that it will be under when we receive them. And this is how simple it is to declare that you're going to receive files in your API requests with Express. This isn't very transferable to other frameworks. This is pretty Express heavy with the way that this is done. However, when we do this, when you upload to Express with files, you have to use a specific kind of upload method. So you don't use JSON, but you use multi-part / form data. It's another way to structure how you are uploading data to an API. And when you do that, you can only pass in strings and or files. So every element in your request has to either be a string or a file. Luckily, most of our things are strings. However, what is not technically a string in our request right now? Skills. Yeah, skills. Why is it? What is it? It's an array. Yeah. So we actually have to say that this is going to be a string. And then we're going to leave any additional validation that we want to do as part of the controller, or you can technically write a custom validator for it, but we're not going to do that there. And we're going to do the same thing for update, just like this. So we're losing a little bit of validation with our skills, but we can make up for that in our controllers a little bit later on. So now that we're in our controller, you are able to access the files that you upload through rec.files like that. And you should see a little star if you have properly used the Express request, not the normal node request. And we also want to typecast this to an express.multer.file, and it's an array of those. Multer, I don't know why it's called Multer. It might be the name of, I don't know, but it is called Multer, and Multer is Express's file like package or namespace. These are names. These are something called namespace. So Express is a namespace, Multer is a namespace, and then file is an actual class inside of the Multer namespace as the object that we're defining. So you can see if you hover over files that you get this really nice IntelliSense for you in VS Code that tells you the type that it is. But all we want from these files are the file paths, because actually our upload or Express takes care of actually like transferring the file and storing it in a file in your backend. Sometimes you would have to do that manually. Like if you wanted to store it in, has anybody heard of S3 Simple Storage Service by AWS? Probably not. It's an AWS service. Do people know what AWS is? Amazon Web Services. Some people, yes. Some people know. You will know AWS. It's the largest, I don't know, software providing services in the world. So if you want to upload it there, or if you wanted to upload it somewhere like Google Drive or something like that, you'll be able to redirect where these files go. But we want the file paths, and that's going to be under files.map, and I believe it is just file.path. Yeah. And we can see that it's an array of strings, which are the file paths, which is exactly what we want. Because the file paths constitute as basically our image URLs. That's what we're doing right now, is we're trying to get our image URLs to store in our database. With that, we're going to add on to our create project our file paths to our service function. And we're also going to do the exact same thing for our update project. We're just going to pass it in at the bottom for simplicity's sake. All right, everybody get that? Anybody have any questions? Zoom in. Is it too small? Is that better? Make this thing, like, get rid of this. I think it's actually helpful to see, like, where. Oh, you want that? Okay. Well, right now I'm in the project controller. I can make. Oh, I can't really. I'd have to zoom in a lot to make that a lot bigger, but like, it's over there. And for some reason, my VS Code doesn't scale the same as other people's. I don't know why. I can never figure it out. Yeah. Can you spell the update project? Yeah. It's the same thing as create project, pretty much, just with a different service function that we're calling and the project ID. All right. Feel good? All right. We're going to go into create project, and we're going to add our file paths as an array of strings. And very simply, what we're going to do is in our data, we're going to say image URLs, or whatever you called that, are just going to be our file paths. Nice and easy, like that. We'll do the same thing for update project, where we're going to delete the previously stored images, and we're just going to say the files have to be like re-uploaded for now, if we want that for simplicity's sake. There are other ways of like managing. You might have like add another parameter like deleted images or like removed images and then added images in case you didn't want to have to upload the same images twice. But for simplicity's sake, we're just going to say whatever images you upload are the new images for your project. All right. Yeah. Can you show what you did again? I just added file paths as a parameter to update project so that it matches what we're calling it with. And then image URLs are going to be set as file paths in our database, in our Prisma call. You added to just update or both create and update? Both create and update. And then you guys would do pretty much the exact same thing for experiences, I think. All right. And now the last thing we need to do is add the ability to retrieve. Oh, wait, I already gave that to you. Okay, never mind. You guys should have this in your index.ts. I didn't realize I gave that to you. But yeah, this is Express's way of retrieving these files. So when you have like a image tag in your front end, and you put the file path as your backend domain / image URL, it'll reference this router that will just get the images for you. So you don't need to do any additional work. We're not going to return the images when we get the projects. We reference them later. You typically don't return files with your data when you access projects or experiences from an API. That makes sense. All right. People good? No? I see a big smile over here.
Can you go back to the project document?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'm good.
Okay. All right. We're going to talk about testing now. So back to slideshows. Testing. In the beginning, there was Jest. Jest is a JavaScript testing framework, very extremely massively popular. Very good. It does pretty much everything you would ever want a testing framework to do. As it says here, allows you to write tests with an approachable, familiar, and feature-rich API that gives you results quickly. Wow, such beautiful penmanship. So let's say you have a test called uppercase, and all it does is returns the string to uppercase. This is an asynchronous function, or this returns a promise for some reason, which means you're able to await it. And you're basically just able to test that when you call this function with the lowercase test, it expects the string to be uppercase test. So you write it in a very readable way. It's a very readable testing framework, which is really nice. Vitest is pretty much the same thing as Jest, but it works within, I think it's technically VTest. It works with the V bundler. So instead of like jest.mock, you just write vi.mock. It's the exact same thing. And we'll be teaching you how to test with our backend that we've done so far. If we want to check for equality, you can use toStrictEqual. This is really good. It does a deep equality versus shallow equality. Does anybody know the difference of deep versus shallow equality? You guys will learn this in OOD, I think. Or if you've taken OOD, you have already learned it. At least FontNote taught us. Shallow equality is that the objects as a reference in memory are the same, whereas deep equality tests that the values inside of the objects are the exact same. Deep equality is typically better, and toStrictEqual tests for deep equality. You can check for exceptions. There's this cool syntax where you await and expect with whatever function you're trying to call, and then you say .regex.toThrow, and then whatever the expected exception is. And then you're also able to test that a particular function has been called either a number of times or has been called with certain parameters. This is very useful, especially if you have created a really good testing setup in your own app where you have really good unit tests for all of your individual functions. Then you can just test that those functions are called correctly from whatever functions are calling them. And you don't actually have to run the functions themselves. You can just mock out whatever they're going to return. That probably doesn't make sense to you right now, but it will in the future. This is what I was talking about, mocking. Mocking is probably the most complicated part of testing. I don't think it's that complicated, but you're basically saying that, let's say you're given a file. So that's a really important thing. In Node, you can pretty much only mock things that are in a different file from the function you are calling. So if you have two functions in the same file that one calls another, and you want to call the parent function, you can't really mock that child function because it's in the same file. But if you move that to a different file, you're able to mock it by, this teams transformer would basically be, it's an import teams transformer from, like, a classic import statement. Let me show an example. This is going to make more sense when we actually do it. But teams transformer is basically like this, like from blah, 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 from some file. And you're saying like the default implementation of that is going to return a shared team. So whenever you call team service.get all teams, Teams Transformer is always going to just return shared team. No matter what you actually call Teams Transformer with, it's always going to return that, which can be really, really useful. It can also kind of screw you over sometimes if you don't fully understand what's going on or have like a whole bunch of mocks and you forget to clear them. Clear all mocks is really important. So if you want to test in one function that Teams Transformer returns something, and then you want to test in another function that it returns something else, you should clear the mock after or before each test. And you can do that in these after each blocks and before each blocks, which are built into vtest and jest. And then you can write test blocks either with test or IT. They're the same thing. Yeah. It's good. Oh, well, I just said that. Yeah, you have describe, which describes groups of tests. And then you can say before each in this describe block, we're going to do these things. After each, we're going to do that thing. And then these are the actual tests that you are writing. The hardest part, in my opinion, of testing is just like remembering what the syntax is. So it's really helpful to just, have tests. Once you get a few tests, it's very similar to endpoints. Once you have a few tests laid out, it's very easy to copy and paste the skeleton and then fill in the content with whatever you actually want to test. This is technical. Whenever we run tests, either front end and back end for when you're on finish line, you run them whenever you push a commit to a PR, and it'll tell you with a big red X if you did something wrong because the test will fail. But when we test here, you can just run yarn test. You might have to run yarn test setup beforehand and then yarn test teardown afterwards. But you can also press the green button, which is really cool. And I don't think I've ever done that. But VS Code has a green button if you have I think you might have to have the Jest extension installed, but you can press that as well. All right. Walk through an exercise. We're going to test the project service functions that we've made, and then you're going to write tests for the experience service functions. Let's go. So I'm going to make a new directory inside SRC called test. Do we put it inside SRC or outside SRC?
The test?
Yeah, I can't remember. It doesn't really matter, but I kind of want it to match whatever we do with finish line. It is an SRC? Okay. No, it's not. It's outside SRC. All right. Inside of the backend directory, we're going to make a new folder called tests. In here, we're going to make another folder called project tests. Projects.test is good. Or no, I don't like that. I like just projects. Nice. And then inside of projects, we're going to make and you get this little lab icon, which is super cool. And then in here, we're going to, all right, let's see if I can remember. Description is going to be projects test. My company likes to do like when running blah, when running projects or something. But it doesn't really matter. It's just whatever group it is. And we're gonna say project tests. Project test. And then this is, what is this? What did I just do? There's this little thing here. It is an arrow function. So what is it allowing us to do?
Like it's saying it's not taking in any parameters.
Yeah. Yeah, we're supplying callback for this describe function in line with a little arrow thing. So in here, we can write our test. So we can say like test. Oh, no, test. And we're going to start with our create project tests because that will allow us to do our update project tests and stuff. Create project tests. And then what I like to do is test every throwing exception. Try to get like, you guys should 100% test like line coverage. You guys know what I'm talking about. That should be something they talked about in Fundies, I think. But basically, we want to test our business logic here in our service functions. So we want to test that if a user is not an admin, that we throw an exception. And we want to test otherwise, we're actually able to create a project with the parameters that were given. And it really shouldn't matter what our parameters are because we're saying that they have to be strings and this is enforced in the route. So we don't have to do any checking on those values. So yeah, and then we want to make sure that we return the expected project. So in here, we're going to do another little arrow function. Oh my goodness. And we're going to say, actually, we're going to say create project throws if user is not admin. And we're actually going to create a new file, which is this is going to be in tests. This is going to be test.utils.ts. And in here, we're going to say export const create test user equals, and then we can provide overrides here if we want to, but for the time being, we're just going to say const user equals await Prisma. Oh my goodness. Prisma? Oh, this isn't happy. Prisma. Slash src slash Prisma. So it has to be async. There we go. Prisma, yeah.
Sorry, what was that file you just created?
Test.utils.ts. It's just going to be something that we're going to use throughout all of our tests, pretty much exclusively for creating test users and then clearing our database. So we're just going to say prisma.user.create. This should be extremely similar. And you guys can literally just take the, where is it? I don't know if I wrote any, but oh yeah. You guys can just like take this data right here. This admin data that you guys have written for, or that everyone has written for, is it data? There we go. Although you guys, you don't have password. Yeah. And then we're just going to return this user. And then we want to provide overrides for whether or not the user is an admin. So let's just say is admin equals true as a default. And then we can say is admin question mark admin else guest. What is the name of what I just did? Who knows what that is called? Brownie points if anybody knows what the question mark colon combination means. Ternary operator. There we go. Yeah. This is basically an inline if else statement. So we're saying if is admin, return admin as a string, else return guest. That's simple. It is awesome. You'll see this everywhere, like literally everywhere. That is an amazing operator. Yeah. And then another thing we're going to want to do, since we're going to be testing directly on our database, we need to be able to clear, just like we have to clear our mocks, we have to clear our database after every test. Whoa. So we're going to say clear database equals, and in here, we're just going to say await prisma.projects.delete many. which is just going to delete all of the projects in the database indiscriminately. And we're going to do the same thing for the experience, and we're going to do the same thing for the users. Just so that at the beginning of all of our tests, we know exactly what's in our database. Absolutely nothing. All right. Everybody good? Anybody have questions on what just happened? Yeah. Scroll back up. Yeah. Basically, we have 3 models in our database: projects, experience, and user. And we're just making sure this is in Prisma, this is the way to just delete everything. When you say delete many and then no parameters, you're saying delete everything. Yeah.
Does it like matter the order you delete them in?
It does. If you try to delete users first, you should get an error if you have created a project or an experience, because you would be breaking the foreign key constraint on projects and experiences, which is not allowed in a database. So you have to go top down. So whatever has the least amount of foreign keys to whatever has, the most.
Do you scroll up a tiny bit?
For the file?
Yeah. After that, you scroll down a bit.
Yeah. What do you want to see?
Which you exported below the.
There's nothing export.
Oh, the return.
Yeah. And then if you want, you can type these to be extra safe. Oh. Oh, right. Okay, sweet. So we're going to say before each or after each, but I'm going to say before each to be fun. This is not what I don't want that. We're going to say before each, we're going to await clear database from our testing thing. You get to say async as well. And then actually call it. And then for our actual test, we're going to say const guest user equals await another async here. Await create test user with isAdmin as false, because that will be a guest. And then we're going to say from our syntax back here, we're going to, this is the one that we're expecting to throw, because we throw the access denied exception. So we're expecting to throw, so we're going to use this await expect to throw function. So we're going to say await expect, oh my God, expect. And then here we can do a nice little arrow function for project service. My VS Code really does not want me to, oh, it's using require. Oh, this can be TS, not JS. That's my bad. Do TS, not JS. I've been using too much JavaScript at my job. This is from, say, import. There we go. This is upset. I think you could just say import describe from test. Yeah. Say before each as well, and test and expect. There we go. I don't like that I have to type all this out, but import project service from /src services / services. There we go. Now we get our nice IntelliSense. Create project with skills. We can name this as anything. Oh, that reminds me. I'll come back to that. I won't confuse you guys. We're gonna say Python. Very simple. Doesn't really matter because we're expecting this to throw. We're not actually testing that it gets created correctly. Just say MDRI for that. We're expecting that dot rejects dot to throw. And what error are we expecting? What error are we expecting?
The user's on admin.
Yes. So we can copy and paste this exception and put it in here. Although we're going to have to import this. Oh, let's go. IntelliSense for the W. There we go. We've written our first test. And now every other test is going to be excruciatingly easier than this, which is so amazing. And I'm going to do this really quick. What is my schema? Okay, I did get rid of that. I'll go back here. People still need to see that. All right. My Docker is not running. Oh, that already exists. All right. Then I can just wait. Yarn test setup. There you go. Run yarn test setup in your terminal when you get the chance. If you're on Windows, this may be another scenario where you have to replace a semicolon with a ampersand. Cannot reach your database at localhost 5433. That's so awesome. Why is that the case? Because it's not at 5433. It's at 8001. Oh, I'm going to have to fix this for everyone, aren't I? That's so sad. Ugh. All right, everyone go to the scripts directory really quick. At the very top level of your VS Code, it's right underneath the node modules. You should see scripts. You can also search in here for test setup. So this is what gets run when you run yarn test setup. And change this to be, this was 5433. Change this to be 8001. And then run yarn test setup. And now, there we go. There we go. All right. So did everybody follow what just happened? I can in test set up the script really quick. Change. This was 5433. It needs to be 8001. Okay. I assume everyone got that. All right. Now, once you've run yarn test setup, you can run yarn test, please. And did we pass? Oh, we already passed. There we go. We passed. Look at that. Let's go. We made a working test. That's so amazing. Has everyone gotten to this point where the test is passing? What? I ran yarn test. Did you run yarn test setup before that? Can you if you go to your, or are you on Windows? You just have to open Docker. So however you have to open the Docker app, that's all you have to do, because your Docker isn't running right now, probably. Yeah, you can enter init anything. How, oh, the file? People good? Good? All right. I'm assuming everyone's good. Yes. What does it say when your test fails? But it has what?
Like it says fail and this says test/project/project.txt. It says error transform.
Huh. That's not good. There's probably a syntax error in your file that's preventing it from being run. We can look at that in a second. But we're going to quickly go through the other tests for projects, so then you guys can start working on experiences, and then I'll come over and take a look at that. But what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste this. So we get to start copying and pasting again, which is normally not good. But you'll see we're going to change a lot. So we're going to change this to be create project succeeds with valid input. And we're going to say admin user. And we're going to say this is true for being an admin. We're going to put this with admin user. And this time we're going to delete this await expect. And we're going to delete this error. And we're going to say const project equals project services dot create project. And we're going to say expect project dot to strict equal. And then we're going to have to come up with the project ourselves. But yeah, so we're expecting the project to have skills as Python. We're expecting image URLs to be empty. We're expecting title to be title. Oof. Expecting description. Oops. Description to be description. Expecting URL to be URL. And then we'll have a little bit of trouble with the user created. We're going to leave that blank for now. And then the user created ID is going to be admin user.id. And then I don't think we have user deleted, but yeah, we might. I'm expecting this to fail. But if oh, that's surprising. Okay, this thing's bricked. That's why. Oh, I forgot to. Oh, wait. My testing does not want to run twice for some reason. There we go. Yeah, so we can see that we did create the project. It's just that what we are expecting is not what we actually received. So you can see what we received is highlighted in this red. And what we were expecting is either gray if it matches or green if it was not met. So if I'm being honest, I don't really care who the creator is. I really only care about the values in the projects. So I'm actually going to change this from to strict equal to contain. And in here, you're going to get a worse error message. Unless, wait, does this not? Expected skills of Python, but got Python. That's so tragic. What if I do contain equal? There we go. No, I didn't like it. There we go. Skills is right. I guess to contain equal does the deep equality. But we can also say, we can also delete that and then go back to .to contain and then that's tragic. You can only do primitive types. Oh my God. All right, well, that is an example of shallow versus deep equality there. Do people see what just happened? So like an array is an object. It's not like a primitive type, like a string or a Boolean or whatever. So when it compares equality, even though the contents are the same, it fails because the objects themselves are not the same. So if we wanted to test those, we could just say like expect project dot skills dot to strict equal, and then you can just say Python here, and then that'll be the same. It can do the same thing for expect project dot URLs dot to strict equal that, and that'll pass. Is there anything else you want to test in here? Not really. Those are pretty much all the things that we add. So yeah, now we have written a test that we are successfully creating a project, or at least we think that we're successfully creating a project. Prisma is at least returning us that object. And now I'm going to copy this. Ooh, actually, oh, we're running out of time. Do I do update now? All right, I'm gonna do update now, and then you guys will probably do experiences for homework. All right, we're gonna say update project throws if user is not admin. Well, actually, update project throws when. When does update throw? When does update project throw?
Deleted?
Yes, it does throw when it is deleted. When else does it throw? I kind of like going in order. Yeah, or when it's not found. I like when I write my tests, I like to go in order of like going through the function and reaching every case. It's easier to follow when somebody else has to go through and do it. So I'm going to do it like that. This doesn't matter for the time being, but we are going to create a project. In fact, I'm just going to take this from above, put that there. Oh, this has to be admin user. We're just going to say update project. Oh, wait, actually, we don't need to do this now. You can literally say update project with anything, and this will fail if we don't have any projects. I think this is project ID. So blah, blah, blah. Right there. And we're going to see that we're getting an error, but it is not the error that we expected. So this is why it is really cool to be able to specify the exact error that we expect to be thrown in this case. So we're expecting access denied, only admins can create projects, but we're receiving project with ID, blah, 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 not found. So we can say that new not found exception, and we're going to say it's a project. Oops, project. And the ID is, what the fuck? Oh my God. There we go. That's another test. And then we're going to take this again. We're going to do the same thing, except this time we actually need a project, which is what I was doing before by taking this. Say project is that. This time we're going to actually pass in the project, not project ID, or not ID. Oh, you're joking. Oh, you guys are probably going to have this error. But to change this to be lowercase strings. It's so awesome. And we're going to test that it's been deleted. Oh, so we're going to have to do actually a little bit of a manual intervention here since we don't have a service function for deleting anything yet. And we're going to have to say await Prisma dot, we're going to have to import Prisma dot project dot delete. And we're going to have to say where ID is project dot ID. I can close this also for the time being, if that makes it easier to read. So we're deleting the project manually because our check is to check if the project has been deleted next here. Well, actually, this isn't that. This is update, and then we say data deleted at is like date.now. Say new date. Yeah, new date. And then deleter is admin user deleter ID user ID. And now we can see that our error message has changed to be project with ID. Some ID has been deleted already. This is riveting stuff, isn't it? Testing. It's so awesome. This is every computer scientist's favorite part of the job. There we go. It passes. How's everyone doing? Sorry? My what? Is it recorded? Yeah. It should be. Let's see. Yes. If I go to more. See? Pause recording. Yeah, testing, it can be complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's very much like a throwback to the service functions. Once you get the hang of it, it starts making a lot of sense. And now we have one more error to account for with update. Bro, we're gonna finish this right on time. We're gonna have one more error to account for. So we have admin user. We're also gonna say const second user equals await create test user. You can say admin true. It doesn't really matter. And we're going to delete this. And we're going to say this is second user. So the second user is updating this project now, and we're going to freak out because we're going to violate a Prisma constraint. Is that what that's saying? Yeah, it loves doing that. Why are we? If I quit and run. Unique constraint failed on the field's email. Oh, whoops. So we do have to change this a little bit and have, well, you guys didn't put that there. I'm going to delete that. Oh, geez. I'm deleting both of these unique constraints. I don't think you guys didn't put those on, did you? I don't think you did. Okay, good. Although it's going to be pissed at me. All right, wait. There we go. Now we're going to get the error. Access denied. Only the creator of a project can edit the project. Exactly what we wanted, which is so great. All our code is working perfectly. So instead, we're going to say access denied exception. Take this string. Only the creator of a project can edit a project. There we go. Now accounted for all of our errors, and we only have the success case left, which will be very straightforward because we have done so many tests already. Also, update all these to not have the same name. If updater is not creator, if project is deleted. We're going to take this. Say update project succeeds. Valid. Admin user, don't need second user. Second user, admin user. Say const project equals wait that. And then we're going to add the same expectations here. but we're going to switch some things up. So we're going to say this is now done in TypeScript. This is now second title, second description, second URL. I don't know why that is. Uh-oh. Something isn't working. All right, let's see if this caught a bug, because I would expect this to work now. Oh, that's because this needs to be updated project. There we go. Now we have thoroughly 100% code tested all of our projects, well, other than get all projects, which that is a very, very simple test. Just, we're gonna shit. Oh, wait, this is actually going to be not fun to test. We won't go over this then, but. We could just say const projects equals await project services dot get projects, and then we're going to expect projects dot length dot to be 3. There we go. If I change this to 2, we error, change back to 3. We're good. And then you could add even better tests where testing that each project is actually this, but we're not going to do that. Actually, could we? Oh, let's go. W. It does work. So that's an awesome test right there. That's a pretty good test. 10 out of 10 test. 10 out of 10 test suite. This gets you a looks good to me on GitHub. When you make this. So anything less doesn't. All right, any questions in general? There's a lot of coding. But we love coding, right? Nobody who applied said that they didn't like coding less than like an 8 out of 10. So I think you guys just had the best day of your life, the best hour of your life. That's a lot of coding. All right, yeah, this is recorded, so I'll post this. Homework for experiences, the same thing, using your endpoints that you've done so far. And then next week, we're going to start doing front-end stuff. And you're going to be really sad if you can't do your front-end because all your endpoints are broken because you didn't write any tests for them.
I have a really tiny question. When you break the 2 windows, mine like doesn't bump it out to that. It like overlaps. It's really annoying. I have to like scroll.
What do you mean?
You know, like it's reformatting, so like each thing is indented properly, so you can see everything. Mine will just like cover the other half.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Do we
Okay.
have club on Monday?
Next Monday? It's a holiday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys
I'm gonna be.
do you guys want to have club on Monday? I guess not at a poll. I was planning on doing it,
I
but
mean, I'll be here, but I know people who are like going home.
oh, is that true?
I will be going over. I'll still be here enough because it's at 7.
Yeah. I'll send out a thing. If people say yes, then yeah. Otherwise, no. I can't believe we got through all that.
10 out of 10.